In this video, we will specifically discuss interplay between section 194Q and section 206C1H. Now let us take a situation. A buyer has purchased a goods worth rupees 1 crore. Now a buyer has failed to deduct TDS on this amount paid to seller and remitted the full value 1 crore to the seller. Now in this example, it is clear that the buyer has already defaulted under section 194Q. Now whether in that proposition a seller is required to collect TCS as per section 206C1H or not. Now before answering this question, let us first go to section 194Q. As per section 194Q subsection 5, it is clearly mentioned that the provision of this section shall not apply to a transaction on which the tax is deducted under any other provision of the act, which is not relevant for the discussion, but the second limb is very important. What it says, tax is collectible under the provision of section 206C, mark the word, other than a transaction to which subsection 1H of section 206C applies. Meaning otherwise, section 194Q and section 206C1H can coexist in a single transaction. Now let's go to section 206C1H. Now read second proviso to section 206C1H, which specifically states, provided further that the provision of this subsection shall not apply if the buyer is liable to deduct tax at source under any other provision of the act on the good purchased by him, and please note this word, and the buyer has deducted the tax on such amount. Now as per the second proviso to section 206C1H, it transpires by the language, if I go by the plain meaning of the language, it transpires that the exception is only applicable if the buyer has deducted the TDS. So if I read section 194Q vis-a-vis section 206C1H, it is clear that on a single transaction both the provision can coexist. Now at this stage, it is also important to discuss the memorandum to the Finance Bill 2021. Now in memorandum, the government has also specified that on a single transaction where the provision of TDS under section 194Q as well as section 206C applies, then on that transaction from 1st July 21, the provision of section 194Q shall alone be applicable. So what is more important to note is that on a single transaction both can coexist. But since section 206C1H clearly mentions that the exception is applicable only and only if the tax is deducted and not otherwise, that condition of second proviso is not fulfilled in the example that we discussed, and therefore going by the definition, going by the language of the provision, one may draw an inference that since as per section 206C1H the buyer was liable to deduct TDS but has not deducted the TDS, he has remitted the full amount to the seller, and therefore it is advisable that seller should collect or should charge TCS on that amount and comply with the provision of section 206C1H. Please watch our next video for more practical issue on 194Q. Thank you for watching.